Okay, we're rolling. Hey, Team Quarantine, welcome back to another podcast episode. My name is Ban Nicolau, and you guys are in the chair with the barber today. Um, we're on lockdown, so everything's changed. I can't get guests on because of the lockdown. The show must go on. So, before we get into the episode today, let's just get the whole lockdown situation out of the way because it's fucking weird. I've only been off work a week. It's Saturday today. I'll probably release on the Sunday. So I finished working at the end of last Saturday. So I've been off 7 days and already I feel like I'm losing my mind. It's kind of like, I don't know if this is what prison feels like. Obviously, we've got more luxuries than being in prison. But the fact that you're kind of, I don't know, held back from going anywhere, it kind of feels that way. So Instagram's got weird. Everybody's looking for something to entertain themselves with. The house party app is like consuming everybody's time now. To be honest, I haven't watched really much TV. Watched a bit of YouTube, but that's it. So a week in, it feels annoying and whatever already. I don't know how long we're going to be locked down for. This could get nasty if this goes on for a couple of months because, all right, I feel like I'm mentally stable. But, some people are going to be really fucking losing their heads after the first couple of weeks, let alone a couple of months. So hopefully everybody can just kind of pull through. And because I've got I brought the things back to film a podcast because I normally leave them at the business. So I brought them. So I thought I could record stuff while I'm in lockdown because I'm back in my sister's home salon, and just put some content out so it just gives people something else to watch. No doubt everybody's going to get fed up of watching the same things all the time. So today, because we've got no other guests, I thought I'd do a story time episode. So I've got 3 stories from the past, which made me laugh. I've been thinking about because we've been doing a lot of reflecting, I guess, in the last 7 days. These are 3 stories that just stood out to me in different conversations that made me laugh. And I thought, you know what? Because I can't have a guest on, I thought I'd bring that. Everybody loves stories. I love stories. If anybody's got stories to tell me, feel free because I love listening to them. It's funny because some of my friends and some of my family take the piss out of me because of the way I tell stories. They say that I take too long to tell them. I put too much information in there. But the thing is, the reason why people read novels and watch movies is because of the story. If you're just going to skip to the end, if you just want to know the point of the story, you'll just flick to the end and you won't read or watch everything before that. So the reason why I tell the stories like I tell them is because I want you to feel like you were there at the time. So the first story I've got, let me see which one I'm going to tell first. I'll tell you about the best, this is what I call the best and worst day ever. So me and 2 of my friends, we were going to go and watch Ludacris live at the O2 in London. So what happened was, it was going to be for my 19th birthday. So we're talking 2009. We were actually going to watch Ludacris, and then the next day we were going to stay over and see Lil Wayne, and then he cancelled because he got ill. So we just went for the day. So what happened was, I drove early morning to Birmingham to pick the boys up and then drive into London. The plan was, we went to North London, we were going to hang out, eat some food, get the underground to Central London, go do some shopping maybe, and then go to the concert from there. And then get the underground back and drive back home on the same night. So as it happens, we're going down, really nice day, we're looking forward to it. Then as we get closer to London, it starts throwing it down. I'm talking like torrential rain in July. So now we're looking for a shop because one of the boys wants to buy an umbrella. So we're walking down Southgate High Street. I parked at Asda car park. Left the car there, we went to eat. My friend's looking for somewhere where we can get an umbrella. So we go to the Southgate tube station. He gets an umbrella. He opens the door. He opens the umbrella out. And then the rain stops. And it never rained again after that for that day. So it was like a little indication that everything is not going to go as planned on that day. So we get the tube, we get the underground, and we go to central London. We're walking around. My sister's messaging me. She says, well, where did you park your car? I said, I parked in Asda. She says, you know, you're only allowed to leave your car there for 2 hours before you get a ticket, don't you? I thought, fuck. So I said to the boys, you give me my ticket. I'm going to go back on the underground. I'm going to go and get the car, and then I'm going to drive to the O2. I'll park at the O2 and I'll meet you there. So they were going to spend the day, the rest of the hours before the concert, around Central, and then they were going to meet me at the concert. Now the concert started about 7 o'clock. So I get the underground on my own. I go back half an hour to Southgate to get the car. I drive to the O2. I'm stuck in traffic. I'm panicking because I want to be with my friends because we were standing. So they get in and they message me that they've just got in. Now at this point, I'm in the car park and I've taken their bags and coats with them because now at this point it's July and it's hot, right? Not like the rain that we had earlier in the day. So I take their bags and their coats with me on the underground. I put them in the car. As I get out the car, I'm rushing now because I want to make sure that I'm stood with my friends for the concert. I'm getting everything ready, trying to move as fast as I can. I throw everything in the boot and then realise I haven't got my keys. So I'm like, fuck, what do I do now? Now I don't know if, did I drop my keys and I can't find them? Did I lock them in the car? I don't know. But I'm not going to miss the concert for it. So I messaged my friends, I was like, boys, I don't know where the keys are. I might have locked them in the car. They said, just come and then we'll figure it out afterwards. So I go into the concert. We watch the concert. The whole time I'm stressing, praying that my keys have not dropped and somebody's robbed them. For all I know, I'm going to get back to the car park and the car's not there. You know, if I've dropped them and I didn't see them, somebody might have picked them up. So the boys, up to this day, the boys say that that was one of the best concerts they'd been to. I didn't think it was that great, but then I figured maybe it was because I was so stressed. We come out. Now I'm thinking, I can't tell my dad I've locked my keys in the car in London because he will fucking kill me. So I messaged my sister. I says to her, look, try and get dad's AA card number and text it me because this is what's happened. I call the AA. They start asking me questions. They figure out I'm not my dad, right? So now I've got to tell my dad. So I ring my dad and I tell him, all right, he took it well. He gets the AA to come out, but the AA take like over an hour. At this point, I've celebrated my 19th birthday in the car park of the O2 with my friends. So the AA come, they managed to open the car, we get the keys, fine. We'd been given a card for the after party, for Ludacris' after party in, it would have been in West London, I think. So I said to one of the boys, here's a sat nav. This was before we had like Google Maps, so we had like the TomTom sat navs and they weren't reliable. So I says to the boys, I've just got to sort some stuff out. You lot put the postcode in. They put the postcode in. We start driving. As I'm driving, I realise that it's putting me on a motorway. Now, why would I need to go on the motorway from East London to West London? Anyway, I didn't think too much of it. It's pitch black. Fuck it, you know, the roads are quiet, whatever. As I'm driving down this motorway, I see these big signs that say "Welcome to Essex." So I've gone the complete opposite way. Now, I don't know what happened and how we managed to get to Essex, but fuck me, I was pissed off at this point. So now we've got to drive all the way back to where we were and then further. So as we're driving back into London, there's roadworks everywhere. It got to the point where the speed limit kept changing. I go through this tunnel, and I swear to you, I got flashed in this tunnel by a camera. 3 times I got flashed for speeding. I've never in my life had the road rage that I had that day. One of the boys in the passenger seat fell asleep. He woke up to me punching my steering wheel out of pure anger and me shouting and screaming. Just complete rage. Fuck. So anyway, I'm praying now that I don't get a ticket. Thanks to God, I never got a ticket. We we get to this club. We don't even know where the club is. We don't know what it looks like. We're driving around for ages trying to find some parking. This club, don't know what it was called. It was down a side street. We drive past it. It looks really small. I managed to find parking on that road. We'd taken some clothes in case we were going to go out that night, just to change into. So while I pull up further past the club, one of the boys says, I'm going to go to the club and see if they'll still let us in. He speaks to this bouncer. This bouncer basically says to him, look, if you guys pay me some extra, I'll make sure I can get you in. So he comes back, he tells us, we're like, what do we do? Do we risk it? He wanted £20 each, so we were going to give him £60, hoping that, I don't even know how much it would have been if we didn't pay him that money. So he comes over to us, this big Polish bouncer, and he's like, boys, look, you give me the money, I'll mark your hand with the little UV pens. He says, and when you come to the door, he says, I'm going to go first, and then you come, give it a couple of minutes, and then you come. And then when you come to the door, I'll just say that I've already let you in. So, okay then. So we exchange the £60. We get to the door, hoping he's going to let us in. He was cool about it. He let us in. We had to be fair, we had such a sick time at the after party. We saw Ludacris. He was like from here to there away from us, but he was just like leaning on his phone, leaning on the wall, playing on his phone. And I imagined hip hop after parties to be like something that P. Diddy would throw. Ludacris didn't even want to be there by the looks of things. But anyway, we had a really good time. We drove back. I got back probably 7 in the morning. But the amount of emotions and ups and downs that we had that day, that I had that day, I've never had such an array of ups and downs in one day in my whole life. So that's why I call that the best and worst day I've ever had in one. The other story I've got is when I got drunk for the first time. So when I was when I was 17, if anybody's got a story of when they got drunk for the first time, please send them me either on Instagram comments when I post this video up, or on YouTube comments, or just DM me, because I love hearing people's stories. I'll never forget this story because it was a bit it was a bit wild, right? So my friend Jan, who was the passenger in the car with me from the story before, he's like a year and a half older than me, and I never used to drink. And there was reasons why I didn't drink. I'm not a big drinker now. I don't really like the taste of alcohol. But the other reasons I didn't drink was because I didn't want to make a dick of myself. I didn't want people having to look after me if I got too drunk, which I'd seen a lot of times over the years growing up as well. and I just like to know what's going on in case anything bad happens. Anyway, so we're in Cyprus, and there was this bar that we used to go to called Cozzy's. Now, everybody, all the Cypriots, the Larnaca Cypriots would know Cozzy's. Instrumental in our growing up lives, in our summers over there. Um, it was nothing special. It was a little bar. It had an indoor bit and an outdoor bit, but we used to go there pretty much every night. And just to explain that it wasn't that special, the dance floor was probably smaller than my bedroom, and the DJ booth was probably the width of my wardrobe. So, but it used to pop off in there sometimes. Well, a lot of the times it did. But this one certain day, we got there. I don't know where the rest of my friends were, but it was me and Jan. We get in there, and it looked like it was going to be dead. You know, when you walk into a place and or on a night out, and you think nothing exciting's going on today. So we got that vibe when we walked in. It was just us two, and Jan turns around and he says to me, I think this is the night we get you drunk. I'm like, nah. And he's like, yeah, come on. He was like, we don't need to overdo it, but let's have a few. Now, if I was going to get drunk with anybody for the first time, it would have been him, because he was one of the boys that, he was one of my best friends, but he was one of the boys that I could really trust and rely on, that if anything bad was to happen, he'd have my back. And not only that, he had his head screwed on. He wasn't reckless. He was a lot bigger than me, which made me feel makes you feel a bit more secure. This was before my martial arts days as well, and he was good at convincing me. So I said to him, I don't really like the taste of alcohol though, so I don't even know what I drink. He says, we'll go for something basic. I was like, what? He says to me, vodka, lemon and lime. Okay then. So we go to the bar, 2 vodka, lemon and limes. Now what you need to understand, for those of you that are not from Cyprus, haven't been out in Larnaca, where in the UK they'll ask you if you want a single or a double, and they put them in that little silver cup, and they'll just, you know, you want a single, they'll put you one. If you want a double, they'll put you 2. In Cyprus, in Larnaca, they don't do that. They just pour. So the drinks are usually triples, maybe doubles, but triples usually. You might get, it might be 4 drinks in that one drink that you're having, 4 alcoholic drinks. So we go and we sit down at this high table on these high stools, and Jan's got his back to the bar. I'm facing the bar. We're just chilling. Drink's all right. There's a lot of it in there, in these high glasses. And drink the first one, cool. It was like, okay, I'm going to go and get us a second one. All right then. Now, what you need to bear in mind is that I've never really drank before. I've tasted alcohol, I've drank, but not to try and get drunk. I might have had one. So now, this second one, I'm already feeling it. Bear in mind that I may have had 2 triples at this point. So, I know I'm drunk when my vision starts blurring. My vision had started to blur, but I'd never experienced this before. So, I drink that one, and then he says to me, I'm going to go and buy us a third. I says, no. I says, because I'm feeling it already. And then he says to me, he looks at me and he says, if I buy you a third one, you have to drink it because it'd be rude not to. This is Greek logic. Okay then. So he goes to the bar, he brings them back. Now I'm just taking my time sipping it. And then what happens is, on the side of me, I see this group of girls. There was about maybe 4 of them. And this one in particular stood out to me. I didn't see her from the front, I just saw her from the back. And she had this little black dress on, tight dress. Now, that's caught my eye, and my taste in girls in body types is thick. I like ass and thick thighs. And this girl had that body type. She was quite short too, and that's how I like them, right? So I see them. I says to Jan, I says, Jan, look at them, and he kind of looks over and he was like, oh yeah, they're nice. I see him. They go to the bar now. The whole time I'm watching him, he can't see him because he's got his back to him. I'm sipping this glass, and me and him are talking, and then I keep looking at her, and I says to him, yeah, and she looks so good. And he says to me, why didn't you go over and speak to her? And I was like, I wouldn't know what to say. And then he drops this line on me that to this day I will never, as long as I live, I will never forget this line. He looks over at me and he says to me, the bottom of the glass will tell you. And I was like, what? And then the light bulb went in my head. If I get to the bottom of this, I'll be drunk enough, I'm going to figure out what to say to him. So I start sipping through this straw. Meanwhile, two of our friends, these two girls, came over just to see how we were, what was going on. Jan says to him, I'm getting band drunk for the first time, and he's seen this girl that he likes, and he's going to go over once he finishes his drink. I says to him, yeah, but you've got to come over with me. He's gone, yeah, okay. All right, cool. So he's gassing me up. The girls are gassing me up. The alcohol's flowing. Again, this is my third drink. I could be 9 alcoholic drinks in at this point because the people at the bar, the good folks of the bar, are not measuring. So I get to the bottom and I jump off my stool. They goes to me, are you going to go? I was like, yeah. Now I'm up. Now I've got to go. I says to Jan, I says, you coming? He was like, nah, you carry on, I'll watch. Fuck. I had a feeling he was going to do that to me. But at this point, I've psyched myself up. I've got to go. So I get up. These are watching me. I can see the girls over there. Now, the girls are on the outside bit of the bar. I can see them. But they're at a table. There's probably about 10 people at this table. There's a bench, a table, a bench, and then a couple more seats on the side because it didn't fit them all. But there's probably about, I don't know, maybe 6, 7 girls and the rest are lads. That girl is sitting there. She's at the end. But for me to now go and approach her, I've got to approach her at the table. I can't wait until she walks off on her own. When's that going to be? I don't know. So I jump up off the stool and I go over to this other table because I need to get me a chair now. I didn't want to go and stand up and try and speak to this girl. So there was another table where there was these people sitting down just having like a casual, quiet drink. And there was an empty chair. Now, I don't know if that chair was occupied by somebody else. They could have been at the bar. They could have been at the toilet. I didn't even ask. I was so hyped up and my adrenaline's going that I just went over, strutted over to this table, grabbed this chair, yanked it, span it round, put it on the side of their table, sit down. And they're all in mid-conversation. Conversation's flowing everywhere. I sit down and I think I may have said, I'm paraphrasing, I think I may have said something along the lines of, hey, you guys look like you're having a good time, so I thought I'd come and join you. It was something along those lines. When I tell you, every single conversation on that table stopped dead. And everybody looks at me like, who the fuck are you? And what the fuck do you want? And I'm looking at all these eyes looking back at me. And I don't know, it probably wasn't that long, but fuck me, it felt like ages. Now, in my head, there's two things going on in my brain right now. The first one was, okay, Ban, so you can either run out of here as fast as you can, because I remember I turned to the right and I saw the exit, and I'm thinking, I could run out of here as fast as I can, turn right or left. It didn't matter which way. I could get out both ways and hope I never see these people again. Or I'll just stay here and try and ride it out. So within maybe a couple of seconds, but it felt like long enough, the two girls at the end that weren't on the benches started talking to me, luckily. One of them was the girl in the black dress. They seemed like the more social ones of the group. So they were saying to me, they were asking me, like, introducing themselves, and then they got me in with the rest of the group. So then they were like, oh, guess this person's name and guess that person's name. And by the end of it, everybody else's guards dropped, and I started like talking to all them, and then my friends met them, and then we spent the rest of the holiday together. So it actually worked out really well. Didn't get the girl in the black dress, got a sister, because she was her sister was the same age as me, and so so it went well. But that situation I will never forget for as long as I live. So if anybody's got drunk stories, or the first time in particular they got drunk, or a situation like that, please send them to me, because I love hearing them. And then the last story I've got is in 2014. I did a skydive for charity. I don't know if many of you have skydived, but it is the most exhilarating thing I've ever done in my life, and I don't think that I'll ever top that. People have told me in the past, I remember one of my uncles, my mum's brother, has skydived, and he says it's the best thing you'll ever do. When I was younger, I thought that's the only thing I wouldn't do. Anyway, and then the years went on, and I thought, fuck it, I want to experience it. So my nephew Nicola has diabetes, so my brother Mitch decided that we'd do a skydive for charity to raise money for diabetes. There was 6 of us going to jump, and it was June 2014, so I was 23 at the time. I would have been 24 in July. And up to the day, I was really excited about it, and I wasn't having any kind of fear, stress, nothing like that. But what was weird was, up to the day of the skydive, I'd have dreams, but they weren't nightmares. Nothing bad would happen in the dream. So I kept dreaming that I'm either gonna skydive off something, or I'm just gonna jump off into like water or something. Nothing bad ever happened in them, but I just remember every dream, no matter where it was, if it was on the top of a high-rise building, if it was on rocks jumping into the sea, whatever it was, I just remember it being absolutely terrifying. I think some dreams I ended up doing it, and some dreams stopped before I got to do it. But either way, they just all had that same thing of me being absolutely terrified. But then when I'd wake up, I'd feel fine. So people would say to me, oh, probably the day before you'll get scared, or on the day, or when you're driving there. Nothing. I remember me and my brother Mitch drove separately to everybody else. We were driving down, I think it was somewhere near Oxford, and it was a nice day. We had the roof off on the car, and I'm chilling. I'm very laid back anyway, but I was actually pretty surprised at how relaxed I was, considering what we're about to do. So we get there, and we had a long wait before we got to jump. So at some point, I'm thinking the nerves are going to kick in. Our 3 friends that were going to jump with us, so there was me, my brother Mitch, my cousin Amy, and then 3 of our friends. Well, 2 friends and one of the girls' dads. And they got to jump before us because they signed in before us, because we got there later. And I remember I got a bit nervous when they were going to jump, and then watched them jump, and when they landed, they were so excited. They were like, we want to do it again. I thought, fucking hell, I can't wait now. So we we get like we go and get harnessed up, and we walk into the plane, and it's all good. And I feel fine. I thought, fuck. If anybody wants to watch on my personal Instagram page, um, which I have the links for afterwards, if you scroll down, it was 2014. If you scroll down enough, you'll see a little clip of the skydive. I was chilling. Anyway, so we go to the plane, we get into the plane. The way it works is, for anybody that hasn't done it, is you get harnessed to a guy, a professional that's behind you, and he knows what he's doing. They just give you some brief instructions. What had happened was, on the day, we'd all paid extra and got our own cameraman, which is an option, so they can film it. So we sat on the plane. My brother's going to be the first one to jump out, and then my cousin Amy, and then me, and then some other people we don't know. So I'm sitting on the plane. 13,500 feet is how far we jumped. Now, I'm not scared of heights. I wasn't scared of heights. But jumping off things was something that I'd have a fear of. I didn't like to jump off high things, but I could look down from them fine. Now, looking back, I'm thinking, all right, it's one of them things you get it over and done with. A few years prior to that, we'd climbed one of the highest peak mountains in England at the Lake District. And I remember we weren't harnessed up. We were just like, when we say climbing, we were walking up them. But we were about 5,000 feet high. And I remember us running across these rocks, and this side and this side, if we slipped, if we tripped over, we would have fell, and it would have been done with. There was no safety net. And I was looking down, and I was like, all right, fine, it's no problem. So I wasn't scared of heights. But like I said, jumping off them, different story. So we get in the plane, we're going up, and then people had said to me, when you're on the plane or when the door opens, that's when you're going to get scared. So we get up, the door opens, but I'm too far back to really see much of what's going on outside. So I didn't get scared at that point. But then my brother is at the edge of the plane, and he's going to go, and that was the moment that scared the life out of me, because I thought, fuck, if anything goes wrong, this is it, When I'm seeing my brother in that situation, I'm like, fuck. So everything happens really fast. So there's two benches in the plane, and you straddle them. So we were straddled on one bench, other people are straddled on another bench, and it's so fast that the cameraman always goes first. So it was my brother's cameraman, and then my brother, and then Amy's cameraman, and Amy, my cameraman, and me. So it's going so fast that before I know it, I'm at the edge of the plane. It's not like I've seen in films where people kind of are standing and then they throw themselves off. It's not like that. Well, it wasn't for us anyway. The cameraman hangs, he's literally hanging at the edge of the plane, outside the plane, waiting to film you when you drop. And then the guy, the professional, is sat at the edge of the plane. Now bear in mind, the parachute is attached to the guy behind you, not to you. You are attached to him, right? Now, all that separates me from 13,500 feet to the floor is a harness, right? If that harness fails for some reason, it's fucking game over, okay? And there's no, you might survive it. No, none of that. You will splatter. So we get to the point where the guy's sitting on the edge of the plane. Now, if for anybody that's watching this or listening to it, unless you're driving, don't do this if you're driving. Just look down now, and you can see a floor. You might be able to see your bed or the chair or something. Just look down now and imagine that what you're looking at, the bed or the floor or whatever, is not there. And imagine that it's 13,500 feet down. All you can see is sky, clouds, people that look this big, if you can see them, cars, houses, everything's tiny. And you now, the only way you can get down is by falling out of that plane. Okay, that was the feeling. It was, if you've been on anything like Oblivion or Alton Towers, it's kind of like that, where you just drop, but a million times worse. So kind of nothing like that. But when you drop, your heart is still up there and you're down here. So he sat at the edge of the plane, the geezer behind me. I'm hanging off him on a harness. And it was at that point I thought, this is a fucking stupid idea. What the fuck was I thinking? Okay, so now, so we drop, fucking terrifying. And the other thing is, they give you like a few instructions of what to do. Like, you've got to tuck your legs behind you, and your hands have got to be like this, and then only when he tells you, you can let your arms free. And I'm thinking, what if I do something wrong? You've got a cameraman, he's flying around as well, but he's filming you, and you don't want to make no stupid faces because it's going to be on the camera. So you've got all these things to think about, as well as being absolutely terrified and hoping that my brother and my cousin have gone down safely as well. At this point, the parachute hasn't opened and you're just spinning around. It is absolutely exhilarating. We'll go through clouds, and then when the parachute opens finally, it is the best feeling ever. But that's when you can relax, when you know that you're safe now. And then we're just gliding down. It's absolutely amazing. I'd never do it again. I'd never do it again. And every time I see people doing it, or I see the video of me doing it, or like a clip might come up on Instagram or something of, you know, someone skydiving, I think, why the fuck did I do that? Maybe the only time I'd do it again is if I had better scenery. So in the UK, people do it over airfields, whereas when I was in Dubai, I saw people doing it over the beach. That looked cool. I think that was the only thing that maybe would persuade me to do it again. But fuck me. And up to this day, you know, we're talking 6 years later, I still have dreams that I've got to jump off something, and it terrifies the life out of me. But for a while, you become a bit of an adrenaline junkie because you want something that's going to match that feeling. But there's nothing that you can do that will match that feeling. Maybe something that will give you a buzz, but in a different type of way, but you'll never get that same thing. I'm not going to say you should do it, because if anything bad happens, God forbid, then you'd blame me. But that was something special. But yeah, they're my 3 stories of the day. If anybody has got suggestions of stories, I've always got a lot of stories, but then like, they're not worth just telling out the blue. They're just more of within conversation type of stories. But if anybody's got a story with me, maybe they could remind me of, I don't know. Yeah, I've got other stories, some I'm not allowed to say. But yeah, this was a different type of episode, so send me your stories in, even if they're just about you, and you can give me a laugh about them, or shock me, surprise me, make me feel something. That's what good stories are about, especially now that we're locked down and we haven't got much to do. Stories are like the old pastime of sitting around a campfire type of shit. So I hope you enjoyed them. My socials will be here somewhere. Follow me, subscribe to the YouTube. You can listen on Spotify and iTunes. Drop me some comments, share if you can on your Instagrams, because I really appreciate everybody that watches and listens. Send me some suggestions of topics if you've got any. I'm willing to talk about all sorts of stuff, whether it's serious, it's funny, deep, whatever it is. If it's the kind of thing that people want to listen to, we can do it. I do have my stuff at home, so lockdown shouldn't stop me, but I might have to be on my own for a while. But yeah, stay safe, guys. Stay tuned and you'll see me soon. Yeah.